Hi everyone. Thank you very much for coming this evening. I'm sure we'll get a couple more entering as we get stuck in. Just to get us started, welcome to our AGM for STC for sort of this year. It's almost a bit strange to think that the last time we did one of these, if we did, must have been a year ago. We've kind of had this crazy year in between. A few of us jumping on the steering group for STC and where we are now. So that's quite exciting, and it's been quite fun sort of putting everything together and realizing sort of what we've managed to achieve despite kind of what's been going on in the world for the last year or so. So we're going to cover a fair bit of that a little later on. We've got a bit of a running agenda on the screen there, so you can kind of always see roughly where we are. And sort of how close we're getting down towards the end. So please feel free to follow along there. We're going to kind of start off as we have been doing with a few of our meetings of late, with just a really quick sort of breakout, just say hello to a couple of people in the room. What's been the highlight of your week, or something good that's happened, if it's been enjoying the sunshine, whatever it is. But just a quick sort of hello to everybody from there. Then, like I say, we're going to run through our 2020 sort of projects, so what we kind of been up to since maybe what was it, April last year that we started sort of on our new journey as STC. So we're going to cover a couple of those, and like I say, it's been quite fun putting that together, and quite fun hopefully everyone will get to see what we've been doing. Christian's going to run us through the Treasurer's report, just so we can kind of see what STC, what the projects have meant in terms of what STC's been doing in terms of finances and those kind of things. We do have a little moment later on where we are going to sort of, vote for the steering group. So we do have a current steering group of about 7 people, if I'm not mistaken. Forgive me if I've forgotten one of you, and there's actually 8 of us. And we're going to just sort of run a quick vote on there for anybody. We did sort of put up a couple of weeks ago if anybody would like to run to join the steering group. I don't think we've had anybody on there. So it should be sort of a relatively nice and quick process, as long as you're happy with the faces that you're looking at, or maybe less so the faces and what you're going to see on the presentation, because I definitely didn't do my hair today or any other day for the last few years. Then we're going to run another quick session just on kind of the year ahead. So kind of show you where we've got up to now. We've got a couple of things already booked in for the year, but we'd really like to get kind of some thoughts and opinions and ideas from everybody in the room today, just on what we're going to sort of, try and achieve over the next year, so that by the time we do this next year, we'll have a whole new set of slides to show you from there. And then kind of our big party this year is going to be People in the Park 2021. So we're going to run through a little bit of that. We've kind of started planning already. We've got another quick vote for you in there just to help us decide on a couple of things. And then we'll run on to any other business, and we will let you all go from there. So we're hoping to probably be here for maybe an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, something like that. We'll try and sort of keep it as brief as possible as we go along. But hopefully there's lots of fun and exciting things to see as we do kind of go around from there. So quick breakout. So like I say, we've kind of been doing this, we'll kind of talk about it maybe a little bit more, but in our transition training that we did over the last kind of the start of this year, we kind of started every session with just a quick 5 minutes, get into a small group, 2-3 people, have you been, how's your week been, what's the highlight been, those kind of things. And it's always just quite a nice way to get things started. So hopefully Christian or Eva have the magical powers to make that happen for us. I could put together a PowerPoint, but I cannot work Zoom to save my life. So
we're going to have a little 4-minute breakout. It's literally just to say hello and get you talking. Anyway, we'll see you there. See you in a bit.
Cool. Well, welcome back. Hope everyone had a quick chance to say hi and just sort of meet each other. Hi, Loppy, I just saw you waving there. Cool. So it's just something fun that we've kind of been doing, and hopefully everyone had a nice chance to sort of talk about the highlights of your week and all those kind of things. I'm just going to go back to sharing my screen if it's not already being shared. Cool. And hopefully we're back on the right spot. Cool. Oh, I missed my fancy little breakout before I sent you out on the breakout. Well, there you go. That's just poor technical management on my part. we'll do another fancy one now then. Hey, 2020 projects, what have we been up to? So we're just going to spend a little bit of time now. A couple of us are probably going to talk about various things that we've been doing over the last year or so. And yeah, like I say, there's kind of almost more than you'd expect. So that's nice to see as well. So again, we've got kind of a little run up or rundown or whatever you want to call it, roundup. That's the word I'm looking for of what's on there. And then we're going to kind of, cover them, a couple of them. We're not going to go through every single one in a little bit more detail going forward. So I'm going to kick us off with, I'm going to kick us off. Christian, if you wouldn't mind, could you kick us off just with a very quick recap of People in the Park from last year? And we're going to talk more about, this year's event a bit later on. But yeah, I'm going to hand over to Christian.
Yeah, well, I shan't say too much about this, but Party in the Park was fun, I think. And it was a good testing ground to see whether it would work well in Lizzie Gardens, which we all thought it did. It kind of created a relaxing atmosphere where people could sit around and watch the stage and so on. So, and it built very much on the work that the previous STC steering group have done, where they held the event in the Guildhall Square or the marketplace and so on. So that was good. We had over 20 or so different groups represented at the event. It was hard because it was COVID, so we didn't advertise it hard because we didn't want too many people to tip up because of COVID and didn't want to crowd it out too much. We had numerous different acts on stage, different people talking, including Jamie Nettles and all sorts of different people on stage talking. Had some lovely poetry, which was great, and so on. So a real kind of good kind of template to build on. We are going to have a repeat of this on the 18th of September, but it's going to be much bigger, and I'm going to hold that because that's going to be on the agenda in a bit. So put the date in your diaries for the 18th of September, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to that section on the agenda. So yeah, over to you, to Brad. That's all right. Any questions on that?
Yeah, no, lovely. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, hopefully a few of you were there. We have done a couple of sort of roundups of it, so hopefully everybody kind of got an idea. There is a video on our website as well, if you want to go and have a look and see kind of what last year looked like. And like Chris said, it's this year, spoiler alert, it's probably going to be bigger and better and even more fun. So yeah, something to really look forward to, but we're going to cover that in a little bit more detail. Next up, I'm going to hand over to Eva for one of our kind of something that was born, kind of through STC and something Eva's been working on for absolutely ages. So Eva, if you wouldn't mind running us through a little bit on Share Salisbury.
Cool. So the idea for Share Salisbury basically started at one of our regular Saturday morning transition cafes. Salisbury Transition City helped the project come to life by providing some guidance, some advice and startup funds of £1,000 to kind of help towards shelving and items and pay for things to get it going. So Share Salisbury is a not-for-profit venture that will give the community access to a library of things to borrow on a one-off basis or at a reduced cost with membership plan. And it offers lower priced memberships to those who are on a low income, just to make sure it is accessible for everyone. The library of things is normal to a similar library, similar to a normal library, but instead of being full of books, it's full of other useful items such as camping equipment, DIY tools, gardening stuff such as hedge trimmers, garden shredders, carpet cleaners, basically anything that you can think of that might be used but on a one-off basis, which will basically save space in people's houses, save people from having to buy things outright, thus saving money, and also the environmental impact, so keeping so carbon emissions and waste at a minimum as well. So there are other libraries of things around the UK. There's one in Frome, there's some in London, there's one in Glasgow. So it's not like a new concept. We've kind of pinched their idea and turned it into our own for Salisbury. But yeah, we basically hope that Share Salisbury will have a positive impact by attempting to solve some of the national issues at a local level, including reducing inequality, reducing waste and carbon emissions, and also to save the community money. If you're interested, you can browse the Library of Things on our website. There you can reserve items and also sign up as a member. So I'll pop a link to the website in the chat if anyone wants to have a look at that as well. And for those who aren't online, if you would prefer to come in and say hi, you can find us in the back of Wessex Community Actions Unit, which is on 6 Whittle Road, Churchfield Industrial Estate. And it's just the door to the right-hand side of the big garage roll-up door that you can probably see in the background of one of those pictures there. So we're open Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays between 11 and 2. So yeah, feel free to come and say hi or come and have a look at the unit and some of the items that we have. Also, if you're on social media, you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Share Salisbury. Thanks, Brad.
Amazing. I don't know if anybody can see, but I've actually got my little Share Salisbury flyer in my background here. I mean, I don't even know if you can see me on camera because I know I'm showing my screen, but there's a fancy little flyer there that's out. So hopefully you can all, you'll see one of those coming through your door or in your local shop very, very soon. And Eva, what sort of membership, I guess, what you said, there's kind of membership types. What are they? What do they sort of cost?
So standard membership is £4 a month, and that actually gets you discount on the items that you borrow. So you get 50% discount for standard membership. You can, if you're on a low income, it's £1 a month, or you could pay that yearly. And you get 70% discount on the item that you wish to borrow. But also you don't necessarily need to become a member. If you just want to borrow on the one-off occasion, you're more than welcome to do that as well. But the cost of the borrow is just full price. Amazing, cool. And people can just sign up by going to the website, yeah? Yeah, and I popped it in the chat. Perfect. So if anybody wants to do that, please do feel free to. I've already booked my hedge trimmer for the weekend because a friend asked us to come around and help with his garden. So that's. How
long can you book things out for?
You can book things for a day or a week or a month, or if it's something that you want to borrow for longer, you can do that. But there's also reductions in the price. So if you say if something was £5 for a day, for a week it would only be 4 times that. And again, if for the month you'd only be paying 2 weeks worth for the borrow. So it's kind of a cost reduction on the length of time that you borrow things for as well.
You can do it as an ad hoc. You don't have to become a member necessarily. Yeah, absolutely. So you don't need to be a member. You can just borrow on the one-off basis as well if you want. On the website, does it say what's available to borrow? Yes. So if you go on the website, I've popped the link in the chat. And then if you click on Library of Things, it will come up with all the items that you're able to look through online. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And if you fancy a movie night, there you've got things like projectors and screens and all those kind of things. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. So excited I just threw my pen on the floor. But yeah, definitely one to have a look out for. So yeah, have a little browse on the website as and when you get a chance from there. Amazing. Thank you very much, Eva. Sorry, I kept you talking there for probably longer than you wanted to, but hey, I like to do that. So next up is our transition training event that we ran over the last, well, it was kind of January to March, wasn't it? So we did an 8-week training session all about transition, you know, from why transition to how you create your vision to, you know, how to run effective groups and get people involved, what inner transition looks like, and sort of, you know, on the whole, just a really nice way to network with local transition groups. We had people from, I think everywhere is probably not an exaggeration. We went international for 8 weeks where we had people from the USA, Portugal, I think, yeah, all over Europe, the US. It was, yeah, really, really fun and inspiring, and you know, having conversations with people on the other side of the world about how they're looking to do transition and what works for them and what works for us was genuinely really, really brilliant. We kind of got a bit of new technology involved. It was run by Naresh Giangrande, who was kind of one of the original transitioners in Totnes. So he kind of gave us his unique perspective on what starting that looks like, and you know, how he's got to kind of where they are with their groups and those kind of things. So that was really, really worthwhile doing. I think it was quite fun and interesting, and yeah, we kind of got some new technology involved, a thing called a Miro board, where everyone in the meeting could all jump on this same whiteboard all at the same time. I wonder if I can go backwards now. You can see very brief snippets of them as we go there. So it was all, you know, post-it notes and all these different things, so we could all kind of interact at the same time. And yeah, it was genuinely brilliant. I think we're probably going to look to do something similar again, you know, this year or beginning of next year. And I think, you know, we'll maybe look for someone else from Transition again to come and run a few sessions on their experience. So if you missed out on that, there will be some more. I think we've probably got some videos and things somewhere, but I also might be making that up. But we do have the resources that Naresh made for us. So if anybody wants to try and catch up on some of the PowerPoints and all those kind of things that we went through, feel free to get in touch, and we can sort of send some of the resources over, because yeah, you know, lots of really worthwhile stuff learning from in there. Now I'm going to put someone on the spot. Susie, if you're still around, I know you do have to jump out in sort of a couple of minutes, but is Susie still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello. You can probably guess what I'm going to talk about now. So this is one of our sort of projects we've been working on again early this year, and Susie was the brains of the operation for that. So if you wouldn't mind just telling us for 2 minutes, you know, a little bit about what we've been up to with Holes for Hedgehogs.
Okay. Well, I have some friends in Bristol, which is, you know, a much bigger city than Salisbury, who'd created holes in the fences in their road and the roads around so that hedgehogs could move around. And I just thought, if they can do it there, we can do it in Salisbury. It'd be brilliant to do it here. And it's happening all over the country as well. Yeah, there's a lot of it going on. People trying to attract hedgehogs to their gardens so that they don't get squished on the road. We leafleted just before the election, didn't we? And then the election came along and it kind of had a bit of a nosedive. But I think it's time to have another push on the Holes for Hedgehogs. Peter helped us to advertise it with the local press, and also we got in touch with the BBC Wiltshire, who were going to run an interview, an appalling interview which I did, but luckily, because I was standing as a Green Party candidate, they couldn't run it, which is such a relief. So I'm trying to put Bradley up to do the interview about it, because I think it'd be really nice to do some more, you know, get it out there a bit more. Been thinking about other things we can do, and I know a lot of people haven't had leaflets through their doors. And to be honest, I've completely dropped the ball on who's done where. But I think over the other side of Castle Road, all that, you know, what are they called? Colmore Road and all those around there, I don't think they've particularly been leafleted. But maybe we don't need to do that anymore. I don't know. But I think it would be great if we started sort of putting signs all over Salisbury. Just funky, you know, slow hedgehogs signs, you know, be quite creative with them. Obviously not laminated, and I don't know, I'm not very good at all this stuff, but maybe, you know, bits of board that the various people who are very, very good at all this sort of thing could do some really lovely but clear, you know, slow down for hedgehogs. And then we've attached them to lampposts in the streets around Salisbury, so have quite a big, I don't know what people think about that. And also Eva's going to have she said she's going to have a hole borer for hire in the Library of Things, which is great, because a lot of people have brick walls between their houses that they can't make holes in without that thing. So I actually don't know. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't looked at the Facebook page for a while. I don't know if anybody else has, and whether people are posting hedgehogs and having success with creating a highway.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many sort of holes we've had. There is sort of a little call out if you've done a hole, so send us a picture of it. But yeah, that's quite a good point actually, is we've got the Facebook group, which is called Project Hedgehog, if I'm not mistaken. So if you're on Facebook, search for that, join it. If nothing else, there's loads of adorable hedgehog videos, isn't there? So
yeah,
it's worth it just for that.
Put the link in the chat, sorry.
Thanks, Eva. So since the election, I mean, basically I had a project that I was working on, and so completely took my eye off the hedgehog ball. But I think I hope people would agree that it'd be nice to have another push.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think we've probably roughly handed out, what, maybe 3,000 leaflets? Am I over exaggerating there? We've got about 5,000. We've still got a little stack to go, but the majority have now gone out. So yeah, hopefully a decent chunk of people have already had one. But yeah, if people want to join that group and get involved and do some flyering around your area, again, give us a shout. We'll absolutely give you a stack of leaflets, and we'll see if we can cover the whole city sort of over the next few months.
Yeah.
Suggestion as well. Can we have can somebody clever make little signs that people could put up, and we could have those for sale for £1 each or a couple of £1 each or whatever, at people in the park as sort of a money bringing in idea. Yeah. I'm sure, I mean, if you had something that's really cute for sale that people could put up, that might encourage people to find out more and want to get involved as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you mean put up outside their house when they've got a hole?
Yeah, or I've seen something, it's on the main road as you go through Amesbury, there's a little sign on a hole that says hedgehogs or something. It's a little archway and it goes over the hole.
Yes, yeah.
Or a little sign that can attach there, or it can go outside on your gate, or it could go anywhere, couldn't it? Just to say, I've got,
Such a good idea. I mean, anyone who's got any ideas like that, I mean, creative, mad, just to get people's attention, I think it's great. Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. No, cracking idea. And yeah, I'm sure we can find someone. Yeah, and again, if sort of anything we're talking about, people think, I want to play, I want to get involved. Yeah, drop something in the chat, give us a shout, pop on the website and send us an email, all those kind of things. Because yeah, we'd obviously love to have as many people on board as we can, getting some of these handed out. So yeah, that'd be lovely.
Fantastic. Good.
Thank you very much for letting me just put you on the spot there.
Thanks,
to talk about that.
I'll get my revenge one day.
Yeah, I'll do that interview for you now. I think we've done a first one.
You will.
Amazing, cool. Thank you very much. Right, so next up on the list, I'm going to hand back over to Chris very briefly just to talk about our kind of local candidates debate. Susie mentioned the recent elections there. So Chris, if you don't mind just giving us a couple of minutes on what that kind of looked like. I know we kind of started the meeting with chatting about that a little bit too, but yeah, if you wouldn't mind for a moment or two.
Yeah, lovely. So just a quick one, really. We thought it was quite important to give opportunity for the candidates to explain how environmentally conscious they were before the election. We invited all parties to put forward a candidate for Salisbury City Council and also for Wiltshire Council. And we're really pleased that every major party did put forward those candidates. The only ones we had struggled with were for an independent for Wiltshire Council. A good old lively debate, very well behaved, and we were really pleased. We had about sort of 50, 60 people come to it live, but we were really impressed that over the next week or two, 1,300 or so people watched the video recording of the debate. So it obviously, and it got shared quite widely in different groups. So we're really pleased that it helped to raise the profile of the need for Salisbury to be more sustainable. And I think I'll leave it at that, and unless anybody's got any questions. We might repeat it someday, even if it's not an election. Just something similar, or because it worked quite well and caused much interest. So, but we'll see how things pan out.
Yeah, that was quite nice to see a lot of.
Adrian, you got your hand up.
Oh, go on, sorry.
Unfortunately, sorry. Can I ask a question about that? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Something, as you know, I've got a major interest in cycling in Salisbury. I'm chairman of COGS. Something that is coming back and biting us in various parts of our anatomy we might not wish to be bitten is the idea of the Salisbury bypass. And of course, this is not been, the new leader of Wiltshire Council has not denied this is not a possibility to take it off the table. Now, I personally believe this is a political move from certain quarters, but it's something we've got to watch, because there's a sense of entitlement amongst people that some people they can drive their 4x4s where and however they want to. And we've got to somehow work away and undermine this, because people could be easily persuaded or otherwise. So it's, the bypass issue is becoming a flagship, I fear, for the anti-sustainable transport lobby. Now, I'm very pleased to see air pollution now has become a major topic for transition, but I think we need to be very mindful about that. And I'm wondering if that was discussed at all by the candidates.
It was discussed. Oh, I can hear myself coming back. But later on in the agenda, Hadrian, we've got what should we be concentrating on, and what should STC be concentrating on, and we might have a bit of a vote on that. So
thank you.
I think it's a really good point, though, that the whole kind of people-friendly streets and the bypass issue may be something that as an organisation or group we need to take on. But well, let's leave that for Brad, if that's all right with you. Leave that for that bit of the
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was actually just going to mirror exactly what Chris said there. Is we kind of, something I've sort of been thinking of a lot recently is, with all this bypass talk, is exactly that. Well, what's the alternative? We've got enough smart, dedicated, great people in transition who can actually maybe form a group and let's work out what the practical thing is. But like I say, or Chris said, we're going to sort of do what we're planning on doing. So if that's something people are interested in, we can add that to the list, and actually, let's start a group and figure out what is the alternative. And when that question comes up, then we've all got something to go to and go, hey, here's what we're going to do about it. Lovely. Thank you very much. Cool. So next up on the list, I'm going to hand over to Mike, just to talk a little bit about tree and hedge planting that's been going on for absolutely ages. To be honest, you guys have been at it for, probably what, a year and a half, 2 years now. But yeah, Mike, if you wouldn't mind, run us through a little bit about the tree planting.
Okay, tree planting or hedgerow planting, or pretty well anything planting in Salisbury. Why bother? The benefits of more hedgerows and trees around Salisbury include increasing the city's biodiversity, including for hedgehogs, improved air quality, they moderate temperature extremes, they muffle traffic noise and screen off unsightly infrastructure, and they may even eventually sequester a small but significant tonnage of carbon. Since last AGM, about 60 individuals from STC member groups, including Salisbury Extinction Rebellion and Salisbury Wildlife Group, have worked with the City Council's Parks team, headed up by Mostyn, and we have funded, between us all, the funding, the planting, and now the maintenance of over 1,000 mixed deciduous hedging plants and some 40-odd trees on 2 areas, Bemerton Heath and Churchill Gardens, of former utility grassland, along with a further 70-odd trees, mostly older, that were purchased by the City Council themselves, which we've then planted out mostly along the Avon Valley. The main point about tree planting is we should only be planting native tree species, and they should be planted in suitable places. And must thereafter be watered for at least a year and kept clear of weeds and overgrowth for at least 2 more years until they're well established. Suitable sites that are needed. First of all, a site must have soil. It's a pointless and unrealistic attempt to try planting trees where it's paved. They've got to be wanted by the landowner, whether it be the City Council or private landowner, and everyone that they will affect, so they're not going to result in subsequent complaints once they've grown up and get removed. They mustn't be too obvious or too desirable, or they may get stolen or vandalized before they are established, and some of ours have already gone, or they'll go and get eaten by deer. Hence, for STC to assist further planting, members are requested to help by, for example, grow on native species from locally gathered seeds for future planting. We currently have got 60 oaks donated by Extinction Rebellion waiting to be planted out this autumn. Identify and provide, if you own it, suitable public or privately owned land around the city that we can then canvass the immediate community to check that a hedge or tree would be acceptable. Assist in future planning and the maintenance, especially the watering. Contribute towards the cost of purchasing whips for future projects. A whip, incidentally, is a short 50-centimetre rooted tree seedling, and that has the best chance of getting established successfully. Give you an idea, 500 whips cost around £400 to £450 and are enough for about 100 metres of hedgerow. If you or your organisation would like to contribute to or seek support from Salisbury Transition City for further tree planting, please get in touch. And incidentally, on the funding side, you can make donations to STC that can be earmarked for future planting projects. Okay, hopefully that wasn't over 2 minutes.
I've done the classic muted myself and then started talking, haven't I? Thank you very much, Mike. So I guess, yeah, thank you. The main things I guess we're looking for are places to plant trees, people to plant trees, people to water trees, and some donations. Have I got that sort of right? Did I miss anything?
The only caveat is, having found the places, we've got to just make sure that everyone's going to be happy they're there. And that may involve persuading them that something they don't think they're going to like, they actually might like. So doing a bit of persuasion.
Nice. Have we got any hidden salespeople in the crowd? Yeah, we might need you to go knock on the doors and sell some tree space for us, and then we'll come in and plant them there. Thank you. Yeah, very, very much. And again, I'm going to say this after every single one of these slides, so you're going to get sick of hearing it. But if you do want to get involved, chuck something in the chat, send us an email, jump on the website, because yeah, it'd be brilliant. And yeah, we've been down sort of last year to sort of water some of the trees, and it's quite a fun little, I say fun adventure. It does take a little while with sort of, a few hundred trees, but it is nice on a sunny day to just go and wander and see how they're getting on and watch them grow and things. So yeah, no, lovely. Thank you very much, Mike. Okay, next person on my list here is, I'm going to hand over to Sarah. And again, sorry, I only just surprised you with this in the little 5-minute quick breakout. So yeah, to talk us through Salisbury 2030, which is something we kind of started last year. And yeah, I'll hand over to you to kind of chat us through, please.
Yeah, thanks, Bradley. Now, so there wasn't much progress after our launch last year. We've sort of failed to get a group together on this during the lockdown. So we really need to get moving on this. It's all about bottom-up, just to give you a brief overview. It's all about bottom-up planning, democratic decision-making, so by communities, for communities, rather than top-down council-imposed or housing construction company-imposed planning for our districts. Also get us away from a project mindset by asking what-if questions, which kind of very much goes along with the Transition City and Rob Hopkins' book. I have talked to the neighbourhood planning team, and I think it's possible that they're very interested in sort of doing this jointly somehow, so that the results can be dovetailed into neighbourhood plan for Salisbury, which is currently in process. But it's important that they don't lead on it, that the communities or groups or whoever takes part comes up with the ideas itself. So what we need is a group of creative thinkers to think about the process. So it's not just a boring meeting. It's actually, how do we get people to think out of the box, to think creatively about the way they could be living in 2030, and then plan backwards. So, okay, that's what we want our lives to look like. Now, how do we get there? Rather than starting with a project focus, we want a road scheme or we want to bypass. Actually, what's the issue? We want to be able to get to work on time, for instance, the bypass. So instead of saying we need a bypass, we say, okay, so what would it look like if we turn transport on its head? What would it look like if we live nearer to where we work or shop? What would it, so we turn the whole planning environment on its head. So we need a group of creative thinkers. And I think it's always good to have a bit of a focus. And I think it would be a good idea if we got that group up and running really quickly. And so at People in the Park, we ran a visioning exercise. So we actually have a separate big marquee or event where we run this with people. We invite people beforehand, we get a key team together, we might get 2 or 3 key speakers and actually carry out that visioning process there as a first off. I mean, I don't think one is enough for Salisbury as a whole, but it would be an overview and get us started. And then I think, I still feel that community by community is the way this will work. And one of the groups that's very interested, and we've been in discussions about it, is Harnham, the new Harnham network, which actually properly came into being last week. They want to get cracking on doing one for the parish, which they will then see what themselves as a community group can action. But yeah, so I think that would focus our minds if we could think about what that would look like at people in the park and run it there. So what I'm asking for here is nominations. Who ought to be on this team? Who wants to be on this team? And how do we move forward? How do we make this a really fun, amazing event for people to take part in?
Amazing. Thank you very much. And it's yeah, I mean, the thing I love about this is there's a real nice, I mean, it's not a Venn diagram, but I'm going to describe it as a Venn diagram of where sort of creativity and practicality can kind of meet really nicely in the middle, and you can kind of be as blue sky as you want, and then it's all about, like Sarah said, just kind of working back from there. And all right, here's the dream, how do we get there? And it's not often you get to achieve your dreams, so that's, I think, yeah, quite a cool thing to look at. So once again, if you would like to get involved, drop something in the chat, get us, send us an email, jump on the website, anything at all like that. If you are part of a group and you would like your group to be involved, so it's not just do you as an individual want to do this, and that goes for any of these, you know, if you are part of a wider group and you think, hey, we'd like to get involved in this, please do. The more the merrier in pretty much every single case here. So yeah, we'd love to see you there and get in touch to get involved in that one. There's only one more, and I'm actually not going to, well, I'm sort of still going to ask you to get involved, but you don't have to send me an email for the next one. And the last sort of what we've been up to this year, I mean, we've done loads of other things. Our Saturday morning transition cafes have still been running throughout lockdown on Zoom. Fingers crossed can go back to being outside in the sunshine very, very shortly. So keep an eye on the website and social media and all those kind of things, because we will absolutely try and jump up and get back into Lizzie Gardens as soon as we can, and swap plants and ideas and all those kind of things, because that was, you know, the highlight of 2020, which I guess, you know, even though it was the highlight of 2020, I guess anything could have been the highlight of 2020, considering not a lot happened after that, but it was certainly my one of my favorite parts. So yeah, the last thing I'm going to talk about before we kind of go into our treasurer's report and we start looking forward rather than at what we've been up to, is we have joined the Salisbury Community Lottery, which is just a really, really fun way to support STC and being a chance to win sort of up to £25,000. I believe it's a weekly draw. You know, it's £1 a ticket, and I think 50% goes to you know, your supported cause. So if you sign up through our website, there is a little button on the homepage to buy your tickets, and if you buy through there, 50% of the ticket cost will come through to STC to go towards our projects. 10% goes to other causes, and you can kind of see on that little diagram there that, you know, 20% is for the prizes and 20% kind of goes to the organizers for their admin costs and things like that. But yeah, Chris, you won, what was it, £20? You've already won the lottery on this one. Oh, you're on mute. You're muted.
He won £25.
£25, nice. So yeah, you know, again, we can make dreams come true through joining STC. So it's really, really fun. I've got my sort of my weekly tickets. I haven't won the lottery yet, but hey, I've still got my fingers crossed for when that comes around. But yeah, there's a link on the homepage of the website. I think it says support us by, I can't exactly remember what the button looks like, but it's on the website. If you wanted to get involved and buy a couple of tickets, you know, you can sign up for a week or do a rolling, whatever you'd like to do. But that's just a nice, fun way to support some good causes in the local area as well. Lovely. Well, that's kind of what we've been up to. Like I say, there are a few other things that we've been doing, but I didn't want you to sort of have to listen to me too much. So we're gonna cut that there, and I'm gonna hand back to Chris to run us through sort of the treasurer's report from the last year.
Lovely. Thank you, Brad. Yes, I was muted when I was explaining that I'd won 25 quid in the lottery. Was I happy? And but when you win, it gives you the option to give the money back to the organisation or to take it yourself. And it's quite nice when people they do it either way. But it does make a difference. We're starting to get this trickle of money coming in through that lottery. So, and it's a bit of fun, and you can win. So I don't know what the top prize is. But anyway, before I do the Treasurer's report, I just want to give my thanks to Anne Malinu, who was my predecessor doing the accounts and spending the day trying to work out and reconcile things. I realized how much work she did previously. So thank you to her. And in fact, I'm still £10 adrift, but never mind. Here are our rough accounts. So we started the year with 4,769. We finished the year with 4,343. Our main expenditures were Party in the Park, which we ran really cheaply at £400. That's partially because a lot of the equipment wasn't needed elsewhere, if I can put it that way, because of lockdown and so on. So I could nab all that for free, if that makes sense. The Transition City, transition training cost us £400, but it did generate quite a lot in the fundraiser. So one thing that we've also established in the last year is the People's Fundraiser. So it's a bit like a Just Giving, but they give us more money than Just Giving do. And they also help other good causes and so on. So that's something that we set up. And so I'll come to that. And then we've also had a grant to Salisbury. It wasn't to Salisbury Share Shop as such, it was, but we gave that to yes, so we gave a grant to Salisbury Share Shop. Sorry, I'm getting my muddled up there. Yeah, so that was, we were pleased to be supporting that. Income was a grant from Salisbury City Council for the PIP 21, the Party in the Park 21. The fundraiser, People's Fundraiser, 520 quid. Other subs and donations. So some people have regularly donate money every month, so, you know, £5 or whatever, but it does mount up. And we've had about £300 a year. So if you want to do that, please let us know and we'll help you set up a standing order. And we're still waiting a £1,000 grant from Wiltshire Council for the youth element of Party in the Park. So really our accounts are more like 5,300. So that's not looking too bad. Next slide, please. Where are we? Brad, there we go. Ooh. Yep, lovely. So next year we're looking to be spending quite a bit more money. So because the Party in Park is going to be that much bigger. We're going to have 2 stages, a big tent. It's going to be longer and so on. And that's likely to cost us 3,500. And I do need to declare an interest here. So in my other job, I run a company called All the Kit, which I set up in partnership with someone else. And we are going to be paid £1,700 to part of that money. That would normally be around about £4,000. But we've kind of reduced the money down. But just there's an interest that I need to declare in that, and people feel free to ask questions and so on. It's actually an opportunity loss for me, but there we go. The future training. So we're going to be talking about hoping to put another training on, which probably cost us about £400 again. Website and insurance cost us about 500, and other kind of local project funding that might come up around 500. So we are going to need some funding in due course. So Eva, you're going to put up that nice link for me for the People Fundraiser in the chat there. And so if people want to kind of donate and help us to keep going and so on, that'd be really good. We're going to have quite a drive on the run up to the COP, into the Party in the Park. But anyway, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Anybody got any questions? Do you want to stop sharing screen for a minute there, Brad, so I can just see if anybody's got any questions about finances and so on. Particularly, I'm particularly keen to cover the bit about there's a potential, can be seen as a conflict of interest, because as treasurer, I'm going to be paying my company 1,700 quid for the people in the park. And I just want to be really clear and open about that.
I think Maggie's got a question for you, Chris.
Yeah, who has?
Maggie.
Maggie, go on, Maggie.
Hi, Chris. Are you going for another grant from the Salisbury District Council? And
Yeah, Salisbury City Council have given us £1,000. We did ask for 3,000 and they gave us 1,000. So we're shorter than we were expecting. I'm not quite sure why. It was Caroline Corbyn did try to kind of nudge them to going back to 3,000, but I think it was one of these decisions that was made beforehand.
And what about Wiltshire Council? You said you're waiting for 1,000.
Yeah, so they've approved the spend of 1,000. So that's going to come through.
Where did you apply to that? Which department?
That was from the area board, from the youth element. When you apply for grants from the area board, it's very hard to get funding for what's known as revenue. So you can get grants to buy stuff, which we weren't really wanting to. We were wanting to kind of rent stuff and pay artists and so on. So we went through the youth bit where they can pay for revenue expenditure. So that was good. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from anybody? Oh yeah, go on then, Anna.
I just wondered whether you're listed on the Amazon Smile list of charities, so that every time somebody makes a purchase from Amazon, you get a little driblet. Are you listed there?
We're not, but we're also not a charity, believe it or not. We're a kick. So
I see. It has to be charities. I beg your pardon.
Does it? Oh, you've disappeared. Are you all right there, Anna?
I'm all right. It's the iPad that fell over.
Looked like you'd done a backflip when you found out we weren't a charity.
Oh, I think you're there. You're lovely.
Yeah. Okay.
So anybody, any other questions before we move on to the other stuff? Anyway, that's our report. So thank you very much. Over to you back, Brad.
Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you very much for doing all of that, because yeah, like you say, you've just learned it's not the easiest of jobs, and yeah, not one I envy. So yeah, very much appreciated. Right, so we're going to move on to a quick vote, or hopefully a quick vote. Again, please feel free to ask questions and you know, speak your minds. We're not trying to sort of rush through this, but we are looking to essentially kind of re-elect our current steering group. Like I said a little earlier on, we did sort of put a call out to anybody who might want to get involved and join that group. I don't think we had any takers as far as I've seen. So at this point, we are just kind of looking to re-elect the lot that we've got, who've been hard at work over the last sort of year or so, getting things up and running. So I'm just going to put a little list of our names on the screen there. If there is nothing too contentious, I think maybe the easiest way to do this would be for us to put up a poll with essentially a yes, no, and an abstain option, unless you would like us to run through every member individually, and we can do that. But otherwise, if you're happy enough for us to just do it all in one, you know, we'll put the names up there, we'll put the vote up, and please, you know, feel free to cast your votes there. And if we have any problems, we can then chat about that afterwards. Hoping again one of the technical wizards, Eva, has got a poll ready to go for us, or Chris, have you got one to go, Eva?
I think so. I've just done it in 2 seconds. So
Chris, you're not showing your screen, Brad?
Oh, you missed another one of my fancy slides. Never mind. Right, okay. I feel like I need to go backwards. No, that's fine. But that's yeah. So these are the candidates on screen that you couldn't see a moment ago. And this is, yeah, what we're kind of looking to vote on there. So if that poll is ready to go,
yeah.
Unless anybody has any questions or statements or anything like that first, please do feel free to say. If not, we'll launch the poll in a couple of seconds.
Okay, so I'll launch a poll. Hopefully it'll.
I might need to stop sharing my screen again, actually, briefly.
No, it should be all right.
Okay.
Bradley, is it just 8 people? I can't seem to scroll down.
It is indeed, yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm sure I said 7 earlier. I knew I'd missed someone out. Oh, it was probably me, because I keep sending emails to 7 other people. So it's fine. I only forgot about me. But yeah, there is currently 8 of us, and it's the same 8 people that we've convinced to stay on for another round with us.
Okay, bear with me a second. I thought I'd set it up, but I have failed. So let me see if I can do that very quickly. add question, save. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, hang on. I've gone elsewhere to try and sort out the question.
It sounds like you're about to go knock on everyone's door with a voting card.
Yes, it does. Okay, so I think it might have to be a show of hands, I'm afraid. Hang on. No. I'm having a bit of a nightmare with this. For some reason, I've not made it work today, and I think I might have left it too late. So, sorry, but can we just do it as a show of hands? So if
I can do it from my screen,
people are happy to re-elect the thing.
Has that popped up on the screen?
Has it come up? Is it launched?
I've managed to launch it from mine for whatever reason.
Oh, so that's because I'm not host. Yeah, so you're host.
You put me in charge.
That's it. So you do it.
Lovely. Okay, so that vote is up on the screen there. And please, feel free to vote. And again, if you've got any questions, statements, comments afterwards, we'll do that.
Are we voting tonight?
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully there should be.
I don't know all the people, so.
Would it help while we've got the poll up on the screen for those of us who are here to just kind of introduce ourselves and go around, and that'll give everyone 2 minutes to have a think and a vote?
Okay.
I will start. I probably should have done this at the start of the meeting anyway, and introduced myself, but hey, hopefully a lot of you know me anyway. Oh, go on, Eva. Oh, were you just waving goodbye to Patsy there? Right, never mind. I thought you were holding your hand up. So yeah, just a really, really quick hello from me. My name is Bradley Thompson. I am one of the co-directors with Eva of Salisbury Transition City. And we've been doing this since maybe March, April last year, when we kind of joined the steering group and kind of took on the director role just a little bit after that. In my normal life, I work in pensions, which is very boring, which is why I'd much rather save the planet than deal in those kind of things. And yeah, I'm, my kind of mission over the last couple of years is to try and be, more involved in the community and actually, rather than shouting about how we need to change things, try and be part of the people who are changing things. So that's kind of why I'm sat in front of you here. I'm just going to run through people on my screen, so I'll pick on you as we go. Eva, can I ask you to go next, because you're next on my screen?
Yeah, I'm Eva. I have been previously involved with Extinction Rebellion Salisbury, and later on kind of moved over to the transition movement. I've also been involved with helping to set up Wiltshire Climate Alliance, which instead of being a local Salisbury thing is more of a Wiltshire-wide environmental networking group. And more recently, I've been setting up a library of things in Salisbury. Other than that, I'm not very interesting.
Yeah.
I will just say something on behalf of Benji as well, who had to dip out and go to another meeting. Benji was involved with setting up the Repair Cafe in Salisbury, and he currently runs the co-delivery bike. So if you ever need anything delivered by electric cargo bike, then he's your man. I'm sure there's loads more to Benji as well, but that's all I could think of at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's a long-term STC member, Salisbury, all good doer, isn't he? So hopefully all of you might have some knowledge of Benji in some form or another, because he's always going around somewhere doing some good. Chris, can I go to you next? You're next on my screen.
Yeah, lovely. I think you've heard me speak. So tiny bit of background. So I used to be a police officer for 25 years, local Amesbury inspector, and now run my own little business called All the Kit, sound and lighting and events. And I'm also heavily involved with Wiltshire Climate Alliance in the similar kind of way as Eva is. I'll leave it at that.
Lovely, thank you very much. Evelyn, you're next on my screen. Oh, but you are muted.
Hello, I'm Evelyn. I've had many years working with tech pubs and technical drawings in the MOD, a couple of years with Fujitsu, and about 5 or 6 years with Andover Mind. So, I've learned a bit about mental health. I joined STC, I think it was, I wasn't there with the original 6 or 7. I think I came along in about October last year, probably. And I've been taking the notes for the steering group since I think it was January or February. They asked me and I said yes. It's about all I could do for them, really. And yeah, so, you know, long history of being interested in trying to save waste and not over-consume things and this type of thing. So I'm very interested to pursue that type of thing. I don't drive, only my daughter drives. My partner and I don't drive. We use buses or walk, and that's about it. Amazing. Oh, I've worked with Caroline on Salisbury Community Energy, a little bit.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah, and thank you very much for doing all those sort of duties that I guess would normally be the sort of, you know, put onto the secretary, all the note taking and keeping us all in line and all those kind of things. So yeah, again, thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you.
Mike, you are next on my screen. I know you've had a little chance to chat, but yeah, just a quick who you are.
Yeah, Mike Dapchi. I actually don't live in Salisbury. I'm at Lopcombe Corner. Got involved in Salisbury. Used to live up Harnham when stationed at Wilton at the headquarters Land Forces. Joined the Salisbury Wildlife Group back then, 2000. Moved into Salisbury Extinction Rebellion, I think courtesy of Sarah and some of her pals. And then, I'm not quite sure how, but drifted into STC. As I say, was Army 29 years, a retired major, infantry. But before that, I used to be a botanist. And after the Army, went back to that. It doesn't pay, so never take it up. Yeah, and that's me.
Amazing. But you can totally blame Eva for your involvement. She just decided you were involved, so that's why you're here, because she made that happen. Amazing. We've got kind of 2 more of us here, and then we'll kind of finish the poll off. I think most people have now voted anyway. Hadrian, you are next on my list, please, and thank you very much.
Well, Hadrian Cook. I'm a retired university teacher. I taught a whole range of environmental subjects, including sustainable development, most recently at Kingston University. Before that, I was at Imperial and Y. Locally, I'm probably most notorious for being a trustee of the Harnham Water Meadows Trust. I'm their drowner. I chair COGS, hence the transport interest. I'm on the exec committee of Salisbury for Europe. And nationally, I'm on one or two things, including the committee for the Society for Landscape Studies.
Amazing. Thank you very, very much. And last in the room, but by no means least, Peter, could you please give us a quick hello and who you are?
You're muted, Peter.
There we are. That was reluctant. Computer doesn't like me much. Yes, I'm Peter Horwood. I retired to Salisbury after a lifetime of working, living in the home counties and working in advertising and promotion in London. When I came to Salisbury shortly afterwards, I saw a presentation given by Rob Hopkins, who was really inspiring. Well, he still is very inspiring, actually. Absolutely marvellous. And from then, a group of people who were also interested in what he had to say thought that we could form a transition movement in Salisbury, and we did. And Mike Leonard, who you can see on the screen before me here, was also deeply involved with that. So I'm one of the originals, basically, one of the leftovers, perhaps, of the most recent generation of Salisbury transition people. So I'm keenly interested in anything to do with sustainability and how we have to alter our lifestyles in order to survive, basically, because nothing else will work in the long run. So that's me, really.
Thank you. Yeah, very much. And yeah, we just won't let you go, really. So you're stuck with us for at least a little while longer, Peter, because even if you say you don't want to do it, we're not going to let you stop.
Yeah, just prod me now and again and I'll come to life.
Amazing. And yeah, a big hi to Mike Leonard, who's on the call as well, who kind of, we kind of took all of our sort of inspiration and things from all the good work you guys have been doing up until we kind of came along and crashed the party. So yeah, thank you very much. That is everyone. Pretty much everybody's voted. If you still have a vote to do on there, please feel free to do it in the next second or so, and otherwise I will end and launch the poll. Sadly, we had a few people drop off. I think there were other meetings happening this evening, so we've had 15 votes. And I'm gonna, oh yes,
the motion came up and I agreed to that.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think that's everybody on there now. So yeah, everyone who could vote has voted.
Oh, I can't. Yeah.
That's fine. So I'm just going to share the results, which hopefully should now pop up on everyone's screen. Are they on there?
Yeah.
Amazing. So yeah, that's 100% in favor of the motion. So thank you very much, everyone. We will carry on doing what we're doing. And I will ask you one more time to get in touch if there was anything that we particularly want to do as we go forward. And actually, that leads us very, very nicely onto my next point. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen so you don't miss my fancy transition again. Which is, we're going to talk about the year ahead. So we were going to do this in a breakout room. Actually, I think there's probably enough of us on the chat to maybe not have to split into that. If people think that's a bad idea and you'd like to rather go into a smaller group, that's absolutely fine. But actually, considering what we've got here, we can see everybody's faces on one screen. So really what we're just kind of looking to do is yeah, kind of a couple of those things we spoke about earlier on, is kind of if you've got an idea for a project, you know, here's a really good opportunity to say what that is. We can see if we can get people involved. We can send out a call to action through our sort of Facebook and Instagram pages and all these kind of channels that we have, email lists. So if there's something that you would like to see, I think, yeah, this is kind of a good opportunity to launch that out there. So what I'm actually going to do is stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other again. But we couldn't miss that really fancy slide. So I thought I'd throw it up on there. Is there anybody who would like to go first, or if you'd like a few seconds to think, you know, I'm happy to keep talking for a moment or two. But if you've got an idea sort of off the bat, please put your hand up. Susie, yes, please.
I think she was saying goodbye.
Oh, she was saying goodbye. Okay. Anybody else want to start us off? I've got some hands up there. Sarah, I saw your hand go up first, so I'm going to hand over to Sarah. And then I got Hadrian, Anna, and was that Anna as well? Okay, so yeah, perfect. I'm going to write this down because I'm going to forget otherwise. But yes, please, Sarah.
Okay, so I was first off the draw. I've been talking to Stonehenge Alliance and also a quick word with Rick Page from the Green Party earlier. And there's a bit of a coalition forming around an opposition to the tunnel scheme on the A303. Now, that's obviously a bit aside from Salisbury, but it strikes me that the whole county are having, obviously, issues with trying to resist both transport and housing schemes. And I think it would be quite good for Transition City to be leading the way. And you mentioned this earlier, that a transport group, which looked at sort of, I mean, it kind of goes along with the vision thing. I guess everything we do goes along with the vision thing, but this is more led by us maybe on imagining a different future. So instead of saying we need a bypass to relieve traffic, we say, actually, what's the problem we're trying to solve here? And what are the different options? And I thought maybe we could even potentially join with Salisbury Democracy Alliance. Salisbury Democracy, I don't know if I've got that name right. Anyway, and ask for a People's Assembly on transport, because a People's Assembly on, so it's the same thing as a Citizens Assembly, but when it's done in a town, you would call it a People's Assembly rightly, because you're not doing it with the whole nation chosen by, you know, in the way that a jury would be, for instance. So a People's Assembly for Salisbury looking at transport, which hears from experts. And so, you know, this hostile us and them environment, which has developed over social media, you know, bypass versus people-friendly streets, could be handled much better through maybe a people's assembly which specifically looks at transport, because climate change in general is way too big for one citizens assembly. So I don't know if that's something that Salisbury Transition City might like to start thinking about, or getting a group together with. That would include COGS probably and other groups as a new way to envisage transport for Salisbury fit for the future. I don't know, just an idea to throw out there.
Amazing. And like you say, it does already sort of interact with a couple of the things we've spoken about. Hadrian, I'll hand straight over to you, but we'll make a note of that, and we'll kind of talk at the end about, you know, how these work together and those kind of things.
Okay. Well, the pubs are still open, so I won't repeat what I said before, but I like that contribution from Sarah very much. I think the strategy is, given that we're all singing from the same song sheet, I believe, is to find ways of doing it which are politically expedient. And one bad thing, I think, is to become part of the background noise. This is a conversation I've had with Peter Horwood over the years. Rather the idea of getting your chess pieces in order, being well informed, being in the background, changing opinions through citizens' assemblies or anything else. And then when the whole thing kicks off again, which is likely to, I mean, there's been a bit of a kick-off around the elections. I'm not personally too worried at the moment, but there's still a bit of a nasty smell out there from my point of view. I think then we should be in a position to make friends and influence people, I think the expression is. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, lovely. They kind of interact quite nicely, like we thought. So yeah, thank you very much. I'll go straight to Anna. You had your hand up as well.
Is that okay?
Yeah, you're here. Perfect.
Yeah, I just think it would be nice to have a community cafe, perhaps at the Quaker Meeting House, with a sort of farmers market.
Okay.
You know, the people on the organic market, Kenson's.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a thought.
No, I mean, well, there's the reason I sort of paused there is, you know, whether or not this kind of links in with each other, you know, feel free to stop me as I go along. But, you know, we do run our sort of, and like I said, as the summer comes along, we'll probably end up doing our sort of outdoor transition cafe on a Saturday morning. And I wonder if that's maybe a good place to bring some of that kind of stuff into Lizzie Gardens.
Yes.
And yeah, maybe run something exactly
I was just thinking in the winter, you know, have it indoors. Yeah.
And then we can use Quaker for those kind of rainy days and things like that. Yeah, no, I think that's a lovely idea there. So we'll kind of make a note. Anybody else with any others, and then we can kind of discuss in a bit more detail. Mike, yes, please. Oh, you're on mute for a second. Let me see if I can unmute you. There we go.
All right. You can hear me, yes?
I can hear you.
Good. Some of you know that I live actually at Hussey's Almshouses, and they've been talking about trying to wild their garden. It's a place that has photographs taken of it by tourists. It's very a bit of a flagship for Salisbury Almshouses, and I thought it would be quite good if somebody or a group in STC could help them to design a garden and get some of the credit out of it, because it is a flagship. Well, it would be a flagship project.
Amazing.
So it's a question of getting together and talking about it in more detail. So if you'd like to, if some of you would like to get in touch, I can arrange to get the gate open for you to come in and have a look and say hello.
Lovely. No, that sounds brilliant, and I'm sure. I mean, I can probably see a couple of avid gardeners in here, and I know plenty more in STC who would, love to get involved in something like that. So, yeah, really good idea.
Okay, I'll stay in waiting.
Perfect. No, thank you very much.
Where was that? So I'm just writing it down. So where we rewilded garden.
Hussey's Almshouses. It's opposite the new build for old people in Castle Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably spelt it all wrong, but it doesn't matter. Okay.
Amazing. No, thank you very much for that. Anybody else with anything else?
I suppose we've already mentioned it, which is the PIP 21 is in the the party in the park, people in the park.
Yeah, we'll run a little slide or two on that in a moment anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there could be something, I think, about getting more younger people involved. We are all a bit older-ish, except for Eva. And it might be good to have a drive to get as many young people involved as possible. I'm not quite sure how. Maybe on the back of PIP, because there's some involvement going on there. But yeah, maybe a young STC group or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, really good. I had the same thought that, you know, hopefully from that youth stage and those kind of things, maybe something like that will be born as well. So yeah, no, totally agree. Lovely. And Eva, yes, please.
I think Sarah wanted to say something as well, but I'll just jump in quickly. And then I was just going to mention, so we had thought about air pollution monitoring and sensors, which we did apply for a grant for, but unfortunately we're unsuccessful, but there are other funding streams. So that's potentially an idea of something that we could pick up, and potentially that could kind of go hand in hand with the transport group if that's what ends up coming out of it. So the idea is to kind of have handheld monitoring devices and stationary ones that either kids that are going to school could have, and check the kind of air pollution on their route to schools and things like that is what we discussed previously, but that's potentially an idea that we could pursue.
And like you said, it sounds like, again, it fits into that kind of transport alternative. You know, that's going to be our backing for why to do that. Mike, yes, please.
It's just to come back on that. I think BID did some work on that, what, 2 or 3 years ago. So it might be worth having a chat with them as well to see what's been done before.
Lovely.
I mean, it's something. It's just a project, the very viable one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, it's sort of something. I don't think he's still here, but Richard Bolton had also been working on a little bit, and I know Mike's got a monitor already. So there's already people doing this. So yeah, let's all get together and make it a cast a wider net and get some real results in that we can use to sort of help our case, which is, yeah, lovely. Sorry, Sarah, did you have another idea to mention?
It's not another idea. We're coming back to talk about some of these ideas in more detail, are we?
Yes, yeah.
My comments to that,
yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a nice range there. Unless anybody else has any other thoughts that they kind of wanted to raise before we kind of go back and talk in a bit more detail. Yes, Anne. Oh, sorry, you're on mute. You're muted. Sorry.
I apologise. It's very interesting, but I must leave now.
Okay, no worries at all.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Brad, do you want me to run a poll thing? I'll see if I can get it to work.
Yes, yeah. So I think the way we're probably going to look at this, and again, we haven't got the full STC membership here. So we'll run a little poll, and the kind of idea of the poll is to get an idea of, how we prioritize some of these projects. Now, they can run side by side and those kind of things. But we kind of want to get an idea of what people want to work on, what they're interested in working on, those kind of things. So we can then start developing them into, something a little bit wider. I think after this, we'll probably send an email around to everybody with, the link to the video of tonight, so they can come back and watch if they'd like to, get some of the ideas that we've spoken about, and maybe do some sort of email poll or a Survey Monkey or something like that, where people can kind of sign up to some of these projects that we are thinking about. So I think we'll ask for some help in the room here today, but we'll reach out to everyone as well and see if we can get a little bit further on from there. Hopefully you've been making sort of furious notes as we go then, Chris, to get a poll up on there. Nice, lovely.
I was creating a poll as I was going along, and for some reason I've lost it now.
So maybe I've got it, to be fair. That's what happened last time. You created it and it turned up on my screen.
Okay.
Oh no, I haven't. Let's have a look. Yes, it's turned up on my screen again, which is lovely.
Oh, it's there, is it? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Go for it then. Yeah.
So yeah, we just want to launch the poll again, just to get an idea of what people think we should sort of you know, not prioritize over other things, but, you know, where do we want to start by spreading our energy, and then we can kind of carry on working through some of the others as we go along. So I'll launch that now, and then I'll tell you about my crazy idea. That's something I'd quite like to see us do, as sort of a, you know, an idea to pick up at some point along the line. Is that everyone screen? Can you see those? And perfect, amazing. So I'll just jabber away while you have a read through and pick your, you know, where you think we want to go. So something I've sort of been thinking about for a little while now, and it probably almost fits again, you know, into this transport bubble. But I've had a bit of a dream for the last few months about getting some kind of electric rickshaws going around the city as kind of an alternative to driving around the town. We've got things like the Library of Things, the share shop, which we've got kind of cargo bike electric delivery through with co-delivery. And we're kind of thinking of, is there a way to combine that with cleaner transport? So, you know, we could have almost like a rickshaw taxi service around town, a bit like Benji's been doing with co-delivery, where you can deliver your shopping when you've been to the market, all those kind of things. But actually also it's really good for tourists. It's a really nice green way to see the cathedral and get around the town and all those kind of things. And that way your bikes are always doing something and they're always going around, and, you know, they could be nice STC or share and all these kind of things. So we can kind of be promoting ourselves just by being in the town as we go along. So, you know, if we do go with a transport group, something along those lines, I'll be jabbering everyone's ear off about, you know, is this a viable option for us to slot into that as well as part of what we're looking to do, because I think that would be more, you know, more fun for anything else, because I'd quite like to ride in some rickshaws when I go to town. So, you know, vested interest there, but I think it'll be a good one. Okay, lovely. We've got 9 of 14 people have voted so far.
Can you only vote for one thing?
I think probably on this you can only vote for one thing.
I tried to put it as multi-choice, so you could put as many as you can.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, I think you can.
Try. See what happens if you do. I can't see it, unfortunately. For some reason, I've got a techie issue. I can't see it at all.
No, you absolutely can. To be fair, of the 11 people who have voted, yeah, there is a split of what's been picked up on there. So yeah, no, that's fine. Vote for more than one. I'll give everyone maybe another sort of 15 seconds or so to put your thoughts in there. If you do need time, just start waving frantically at me and I won't cut you off if you haven't had a chance to read through them all and vote yet. But otherwise, it looks like we've got 13 out of 14 votes on there.
Bradley?
So, yeah?
Do you remember when there were rickshaws in Salisbury?
I've heard about it. I don't remember it, but Benji was telling me about that. So yeah, we've got some of the contact details, and we're going to see what happened there and you know, why there aren't any more, and you know, what we need to do to maybe revitalize something like that.
So there was a guy called Richard Lewis, who ended up being a transport engineer in London, but he ran the Salisbury rickshaw, and it was an old machine, manual, heavy, and he ran it out of Hayball Cycle Shop.
Okay.
On Winchester Street, and I've been trying to put Benji in contact with Richard. There are obviously more modern designs available, more modern kits, and I think Richard's been working with a couple of companies who are actually promoting and selling rickshaws. So they are available, but they do cost considerable amounts of money.
Yeah, I think the cost is going to be kind of one of the big blockers on that. But hopefully, again, there's grants and things that, you know, maybe there was that lottery grant, things like that
Sure, you know, yeah. But it would, as you were saying, Brad, would fit very well in with the transport theme and bringing clean energy to the city. So something the transport group could adopt with trying to get more electric buses, electric taxis, as well as reducing the volume of traffic in town. But yeah, marvelous.
Amazing. No, thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, and I think that's definitely something we've we're kind of definitely looking into there.
Can you get electric ones?
I think you can. Yes, yeah. Because I'm not much of a peddler and I want to ride it. So yeah, we're going to need an electric one, at least for me to cart people around the city in. All right, lovely. I'm going to stop the poll there. We've had it sort of open for 5 minutes. If you haven't voted yet, I'll give you 2 more seconds and then I'm going to hit the stop button. But it looks like pretty much everyone, 92% of us have voted. So I'm going to hit stop and I'm going to share the results straight away.
Can you
so
read
hopefully
that?
those are up on everyone's.
Brad, can you read it out because I can't see it?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so top votes on this was to look at having a People's Assembly, local transport group, all those kind of things. So yeah, that's 12 out of 13 votes were on that. So 92% voted on for that one. So that's yeah, definitely something I think that we should be looking to prioritize. A lot of different people have spoken about a lot of different things that fall into that. So I think maybe we turn that into sort of a big focus for the next year. The community cafe, possibly the Quaker House, possibly in the park, got 46% of votes. Again, I think that's lovely, something we can definitely incorporate into our transition cafes and those kind of things. The Rewilded Garden at Hussey's, 54% of the votes. So I think, again, if we've got any avid gardeners, we'll put out a call for some avid gardeners. But that's definitely something I think we should be looking at. Getting more people involved. Or young people involved in STC, again, got 46% of the vote. So we're sharing that with the community cafe, and maybe we can find a way to make those sort of combined as well. Get some young people involved in running a market for us or something like that, and get some sort of younger people involved. And then air pollution monitoring got 77% of the vote. So I guess you could, not that we're going to place these at all, but in terms of priorities, that's probably the second one that people thought was a good idea. So yeah, I think we'll definitely be looking to do all of these over the course of the next year. But I guess if we were going to put them in an order, maybe let's start building that transport group. Let's get working on the air pollution stuff because we've already got people doing that. And then we follow those on through the others and get those gardening groups and stuff together. But thank you very much. It's just really good to get a sense check from people. If we'd have put these up and there were absolutely 0 votes for any of them, at least we would have known that, what we were talking about was, maybe not what we should be looking at as a group. So unless there's anything in there that looks particularly contentious or anything anybody would like to sort of comment, Sarah, I know you sort of said you had a couple of things to say. Sorry, I never actually came back to you. I don't know if that's still relevant for the transport stuff, but if you want to.
Where am I? Oh, I'm not muted. Yeah, no, I mean, if we're not going to discuss these here, I guess there will be groups down the line that's going to look at them in more detail. So no need to kind of get involved there. It was just on the young people joining STC. It was interesting when XR were trying to talk to the schools. Of course, we couldn't, safeguarding issues and all of that around the Fridays for Future. But it may be that STC would think of doing talks in schools, or communicating with schools and trying to get a youth STC maybe that way, because I think I am pretty sure that schools must be looking around for something slightly less out there for kids to do, to get involved in climate issues without necessarily being part of Extinction Rebellion and illegal activities. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're quite amenable to Transition City as an alternative, maybe.
Yeah, no, totally agree. But go on, Chris.
Yeah, but it's more kind of leading off on for Sarah said, really. It's what's the mechanics going to be to progress this work? Are we going to kind of put out an email to say, who wants to join this working group? And then they could report back at the members meeting kind of thing, or
yeah,
plan.
I think in my head, and Eva, you might need to sort of nod or shake your head if you think this isn't possible. But in my head, I'm thinking we send out an email kind of post this meeting just to say kind of what's happened. Here's the video, and we maybe put like a survey monkey or something in there with all the different options, so people can vote for what the wider sort of STC membership can vote for, again, what they think we should sort of be looking at. And with each one of those options, maybe we put in a, would you like to be part of this group? Tick box, yes or no. So you can kind of look at transport group. Do you want to be involved? Yes. What's your email address? We'll organize a meeting.
It might be useful to see who, because we're going to need someone to drive those bits of work. And I don't know what capacity, I haven't got much capacity left, to be honest, but if anybody who's suggested those, do they want to drive it?
Really good shout. Yeah, if we have any volunteers sort of on the call who'd like to head up any of those, please do say. Sorry, go on, Sarah. Oh, you're back on mute now. There you go.
Jumping again. Just a suggestion on this. I don't know if it's politically correct or not. But when you send out a poll, because it's always the same few people that end up running groups, is it possible to say to people that we expect you to be in a group, because that's actually where you will meet? Because the overall group, apart from Transition Cafe, doesn't meet very often. So if you're a member of STC, you ought to be in one group or another. Where does your interest lie? Or if nobody's come up with the group that you're interested yet, maybe some people would just like if Transition Cafe alone, maybe, if the group that you would like to be a part of isn't there yet, suggest it. But yeah, we want a group for everybody to be in. Yeah, not put it like you must be in a group, but we want everyone to be in a group.
Yeah.
It's not there.
No, I think that does make sense. Yeah.
The wrong way around.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a way to sort of, to get that message across of, not why be a part of this, but, if you're part of this, be a part of it. And which part do you want to be involved in? And yeah, see if we can inspire some people to join in and get involved in some of these groups. So yeah, no, sensible. And if anybody does have any sort of more sensible ideas than I just had about how we sort of, get people on board, please do speak up now. Just as a thought, or again, if anybody wants to volunteer, as I've said a million times, chuck it in the chat, send us an email, jump on the website. But yeah, please do put your hand up, because the more the merrier, like I kind of said a little earlier on. Lovely. Right. We are sort of running over now, so I am very, very sorry for that. As I was going to say, I carefully planned the times. They weren't that carefully planned, obviously. But we've only got one sort of thing left to cover, and then we'll run on to any other business. But hopefully we've kind of picked up a lot of that through what we've just talked about. So the last thing we want to talk about, because it is kind of, following on from the year ahead, and it is one thing that we know we are certainly gearing up for already, and we have been for a little while, is sort of People in the Park 2021. So it's just to give you an idea of what that looks like. I'm going to hand over to Chris one last time, just to sort of talk us through a couple of slides on that.
Yeah, can't remember what the slides are. But yeah. So basically, it's bigger and better. There's going to be that youth stage that we've spoken about. And what's been really positive about this is that we've got a couple of young people, a 17-year-old called Vincent and Becca. Don't know how old she is, but they're both kind of students. Really keen to take that on and to run the youth stage and contribute also to the bigger stage. So that's really good. We met with them the other day, and it's encouraging. There's more room for stall holders. If you know of a community group or environment group that's keen to tell the world what they're doing and want to stall, then that'd be great. And it's finishing at 7:30 this time around. The stall holders can finish at 4 o'clock, but the stage and entertainment and so on will finish a bit later. We have contacted a number of people, including John Glenn and Caroline Corbyn and so on. We're quite keen that the message around sustainability comes from various different messengers. So some people will listen to John Glenn and think he's talking the complete and utter truth, and some people will listen to other people and think so it's important to have that wide spread of messengers, if I can put it that way, to try and get as many people involved and make it mainstream, if that makes sense. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah, absolutely. I'll move on to the next slide.
Next slide. What's next?
Oh yeah, right. This was my bit.
Yeah.
That was just a little sneaky peek. Right, I will do a show of hands this time, just because I don't know how much time we've got left for polls and things. But something I wanted to sort of pitch to the group here was we've come up with a couple of different ideas for a logo for the event. And I've only got sort of two of them to show you, but I just wanted to get a vote from everyone who's here, just to say which one you think we should go ahead with, which one you think looks the most fun and enticing and all those kind of things. And that will be what we use for our sort of promo material and our signage and all that kind of stuff for the event. So you've just had a sneaky peek at the first one. So this is option A. Hopefully you can see that, well enough to get an idea of the colors and those kind of things. And then I'll give you a moment to have a quick look. So there you go, 18th of September this year, 11 a.m. I put 8 p.m. Sorry, that's my fault there. It should be 7:30 when we finish off and back in Queen Elizabeth Gardens. Here is option B. Which is just a little bit, I feel maybe a bit more 80s than anything else. but lots of sort of fun colors and things in there. So
yeah,
lovely. So yeah, let's I'll see if I can get everyone up on my screen. I should be able to, I can see all of you anyway here. So just by sort of a show of hands, I know you've not had a long time to look at them, but just as a sense check, who likes option A, which is the one on the top left? If you wouldn't mind raising your hands for me. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, we got 8, 9 votes on there. Well, I think I might know what's going to happen with option B then. But if you wouldn't mind raising your hand for option B, which one do you prefer? Cool. So yeah, that looks like 9-6 on that one. Oh, I mean, we've got 3 hands on Jimmy's screen there. So that's a tie. All right, lovely. So yeah, based on what we've sort of just seen in the room here, it looks like we're going to go for option A. So that's what you're going to see all around town and everywhere we go over the next few weeks. So that'll start appearing on social media for you guys to share and all those kind of things. So thank you very much for doing that for us. It was just to sort of get that there. The very last thing we're going to do, and then I promise I am going to let you go because I know we've run over by a little while now. It is just one last sort of call to action. And I know tonight has been a fair few calls to action, but to get this event sort of up and running, we are going to need a few volunteers for things like stewarding, help us sort of set up and take down everything. Litter pickers, we want to leave the site in a better condition than we turned up in it. So we're going to do a litter pick straight after the event, and then we're going to come back the following morning and do some more litter picking to make sure there is no trace that we were there other than all the smiles on the faces in town as people walk past and remember how good the day before was. And if you're a first aider or anything at all like that, we would love to see you there. So for maybe the last time, I can't remember what the other half of the slide is, but for maybe the last time today, chuck something in the chat, send us an email, get on the website if you would be willing to, or you know someone who'd be willing to. Again, if you are part of a group and you think, hey, my group wouldn't mind just being stewards for an afternoon or something like that, just get in touch with us. And we'll keep nagging you up until the 18th of September anyway. So the sooner you say yes, the less you're going to get me asking you to join in as we go along. And to go alongside that, we've got some musicians already lined up. I know Becca and Vincent already have some musicians lined up. But if you have an act, you're in a band, we're going to get Hadrian on stage. If you know somebody who would like to entertain, not necessarily musicians either. Last year we had poetry, we had speakers, all kind of things. If you're a keen juggler, whatever it is, and you want to entertain people, let us know and we'll see if we can find you a spot on one of the stages. Again, if your group would like a stall, get in touch. And we will happily provide you some space to kind of get your message out there. And if you'd like to speak on the stage, all those kind of things as well. And of course, you've kind of seen that it's going to cost a fair amount more than it did last year. So we are looking for some donations through that site Christian was talking about earlier on. On our website, on the homepage, there is this little donate button there that you could find and click on. If you would like to sort of, if you haven't got any time to volunteer, but maybe you've got a couple of pounds to spare, anything will help going towards kind of, paying those acts that are coming on stage. They are kind of some of the people who got hit quite hard, the arts, last year. So something we really wanted to try and do last year and something we'd really like to try and do this year is pay those kind of artists for their time. So we're not just asking them to turn up and play for free and all these kind of things to entertain us. So that is all the talking I'm going to do, unless anybody has anything they'd like to mention as kind of any other business. Otherwise, I promise I will let you go and enjoy the last bit of your evening.
I've just seen a couple of people have been donating, so thank you very much for those who've gone on that link and done that. So that's great.
Amazing. Thank you very, very much. Last call for any other business. Any waves? Amazing. I mean, I think we've probably given you far too much information for one Tuesday evening anyway. So again, any questions, anything at all like that, get in touch with us. We will pop out an email after this with the link to the video. And anything you come up with after that, please do get in touch with us from there. Otherwise, all that's left for me to do is say thank you very much for coming along to the AGM. We'll be in touch when our transition cafes get back on the road so we can all get back outside and see each other in actual person. I've forgotten what everybody looks like from the neck down over the last year, so it'd be nice to see some arms and legs and things wandering around the streets again. But thank you very, very much for your time. And yeah, we will see you very, very soon.